Good afternoon, class. Today we will be presenting the Kodak case analysis. Our group consists of Naeem Butler, Ivana Craig, Jonathan Gordon, Carolyn Pratt, and myself, Brian Stevenson. I will start off the presentation with the background information. Carolyn will then follow up with the environment information. Naeem and Ivana will then discuss the internal issues and the analysis. Jonathan will then discuss the key strategic issues, and Ivana will wrap up the presentation with the recommendations. And lastly, Naeem will finish the presentation with the conclusion. A little bit of background information about Kodak. Kodak was founded in 1889 by George Eastman. Kodak now is currently headquartered in Rochester, New York. The slogan for this company is, "You press the button, we do the rest." Kodak was the first to put the simple camera in the hands of the world in 1888. Recently, it converted to operating in two groups, the commercial segment and the consumer segment. Before that, they operated in three groups, which consist of the Consumer Digital Imaging Group, Graphic Communications Group, and the Film, Photo Finishing, and Entertainment Group.
Entering this industry's environment is a threat because there's a lot of competitors. There are easy substitutions for this industry, such as cell phones and easy access to digital cameras. Its buyer power, customers' preference owns the industry, and its supplier power, low supplier bargaining power due to high amount of competitors.
Kodak is currently a part of the photography and supplies industry. Until the early 2000s, Kodak controlled 90% of the film market and 85% of the camera segment. Originally, they were under the razor and blade pricing model for printers and ink cartridges, in which they would price the printer as inexpensive for the customer as possible, and ink cartridges would be expensive. Under their new pricing model, in order to sell their jet ink printers, they would price the printers themselves expensive, and they would be more cost conservative for ink cartridge sales. This was expected to save the customer 50% of their cost of the ink of the printer over the life of the printer. Under the leadership of Antonio Perez, Kodak shifted from traditional film to digital products and supplies. This included digital cameras and inkjet printers. Under his leadership, they took 4 strategic steps: lead in distributed output, expand digital imaging services, grow the digital capture business, and manage the traditional film business for cash and manufacturing share leadership. During this time, the return on asset continued to decline over the last 7 years since 2005. Kodak within its company has both strengths and weaknesses. Their strengths include already being established within the industry since the early 1800s, and they also established a strong intellectual property portfolio during this time as well. However, their weaknesses include organizational structure, low profit margin, and a plethora of competitors.
By looking at the graph, you can see that both Kodak and Sony are not performing very well. If you look at their profit margin, ROA and ROE, Kodak is either in the negative or zero. This means that they do not have a competitive advantage. They are not adding value, not being profitable. They have no type of returns on their investment, and they barely receive anything in profit. They are not doing good competitively at all.
Kodak's key strategic issue would be the low-cost strategy. With Kodak being a company that's dependent on a low cost, changing the cost would be very strategic. With consumers of the photography industry being very savvy with technology, they are becoming more dependent on the quality of the product instead of the price. Low-priced products are coming off as cheap products with bad quality. Low-cost strategy can help expand the target market and increase profit. Only loss they could take would be the loss of consumers due to the increase in prices. However, with a well-known brand name and good quality, quality products, Kodak is still trying to compete with its competitors.
Alternatives and recommendations. The two alternatives that we came up with were 1. To merge with another company to enhance their products and profitability, or 2. To concentrate mainly on innovation and R&D for future growth. Due to the unattractiveness of the photographic equipment and supplies industry, Kodak's best alternative is to merge with a company that already has a large share of the industry. That way they can implement their great imaging skills and capabilities while enhancing their products and profitability.
That concludes our project case on Kodak. Again, our group members include Naeem Butler, Ivana Craig, Jonathan Gordon, Carolyn Pratt, and Brian Stevenson. Thank you.